Friends, family, fans, welcome back to Back 9 Bets, where we hit Cameron Smith winners 3 times a year so far. It's been an absolute banger. We got the $100 bill shirt on today. It's only been busted out 4 times since doing 32 episodes of Back 9 Bets. We've only hit 4 winners. However, guess what? We bet to hit a winner every 9 events. So we up 4 events. One more winner, and then we are cooking with gas. Life is good over here on Back 9 Bets. Cameron Smith is a beast. I love that guy. So sad if he leaves to live. Not going to lie to you, it's going to break my heart. I might need counseling. We shall see. It's going to be a rough one. However, it was a good week for us. We broke even on head-to-heads. We broke even on placings. Had a bit of a rough one there, but Cam Smith, baby. What a crazy back 9. My boy, he was so good. He was so good. Then, off the top, welcome to Back 9 Bets presented by RotoBaller.com, by the way. I'll get into that in a little bit. They are sponsoring this podcast. Life is good over here on Back 9 Bets. Want to shout out my man, Degenerate75. He's one of the ascending superstars of the DFS Showdown / Prize Picks community. He mentioned me on his wonderful podcast with Andy Lack yesterday. So thank you, sir. I really appreciate you. All the followers from that show, welcome to Back 9 Bets. My name is Byron, the Model Maniac, and I'm here to please you for the next hour, however you may find that appealing. So yes, that's what we're doing over here, guys. Now listen, you can win big with RotoBaller.com's premium pass, okay? We've got RotoBaller's premium DFS package, which includes exclusive tools, DFS cheat sheets, research stations, lineup optimizers, and just so much freaking more. We got Spencer, Joe, and Josh's premium articles out there. They crush it. Horses for the course. Vegas Report is all about Spencer's betting thing. He's freaking good at what he does. Josh's hole-by-hole breakdown is titties McGee. Life is good over there at RotoBaller Premium. Go get yourself some. For a limited time, get the PGA Premium Pass for 50 freaking % off, peeps. Use promo code MANIAC for another 10%. Just visit rotoballer.com/radio, sign up today, and start rotoballing like a goddamn boss. Yes, much better than the last time. We are getting there. Let's check out what we actually have to deal with this week. We're playing in Minnesota. It's 4 hours north of me. However, I will not be on camera next week. I'll be biking across Iowa. I'm not ready. I'm going to be in severe pain for 7 straight days, 450 plus miles. But that's what's going on over there. So I won't be here next week. This week we've got the 3M Open. Let's tackle this biatch. We've only played there 3 years, so our average is only including 2021 to 2019. What you can see over here is the difference compared to tour average is 5% off the tee. Big time off the tee. Cannot go to this golf course. It's a ball striker's paradise. Basically, what you want from this situation is anyone that can ball strike the crap out of it. Anything else putting around the green, that's a bonus. Not that important this week. Distance off the tee, although it can help. We've seen some absolute bombers win this event. Cameron Champ did that by gaining 8 strokes putting. So don't necessarily get into that rut. We don't really have that much of a distance proponent in our model. We'll get there. Accuracy, though, very important. There's water everywhere. Go check out the Bet Spurts episode I just did with Ron Klaus. We discussed this. There's water on like more than half the holes off the tee. And there's like 14 water holes in general. So there's water everywhere. It's basically like a Florida swing type vibe. We're playing in Minnesota, though. So I'm not sure how to compare that. But strokes gained approach, 6% more than tour average, according to the regression stats. So we want big-time approach players around the green and putting, 7 and 8% less than tour average. Don't really give 2 craps about that much. They're playing on bent grass. We'll get to that. As you can tell, we've got a massive range of proximity numbers from 125 to 200. Although they are less than tour average, they still, that 3-bucket range accounts for 50% of the shots that will take place at this course. So that's kind of where we're going to go in that proximity area. There's all sorts of shots that take place at this venue. It's a wide array of shots compared to last week at the old course. And of course, I do not have this thing put in the right way. But anyway, let's get into it. Here we go. Here's the model. This is what we're cooking with today. 66%. So a third of our stats are coming from 2022. Two-thirds of it's coming from 2022. A third of it coming from 2021. So we do the long run stuff over here at Back 9 Bets, presented to you by RotoBaller.com. 10% of course history at this event will be weighted into the stats. 70% of the stats, which is all of this stuff over here, will be part of that weighting. And then 10% will be official world golf ranking points, which is a very, very true depictor of success on tour. And then the last 24 rounds, these guys have played 10%. And then when we get into the stats, like I said, 15% strokes gained approach, baseline. 5% strokes gained approach the last 24 rounds. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, that's 20%. Then we've got 20% in proximity numbers that are prorated per the key stats that we just did over here. So that's what we're looking at over there. That accounts for 40%. So 4 out of 10 of the model is strokes gained approach. We love that. 5% around the green, just a little touchy there. 10% strokes gained putting on strokes gained baseline, 5% on the last 50 rounds on bent grass, and then 2.5% for the last 24 rounds. The scores at this event are like close to 20 under par all the time. Birdie or better percentages, 15%. Sign us up. 10% for par 5 scoring. Love to see that. Absolutely important here. There's 3 of them. Got to capitalize on those holes. 10% strokes gained off the tee. 10% good drive percentage for 20% total driving. So we've got 60% in ball striking and then, a little bit of dilly-dabbying around wherever. The model. Welcome to the model, friends. We're going to get out of the side and into the box here. At the top, we've got, and I wanted to put this power ranking in here just for a little bit because I want y'all to see that HideKEY Matsuyama is the clear favorite in this field, according to my model, which you saw all the stats and settings for. As you can tell, his recent play, the last 24 rounds, is fourth in this field. The guy's a ball striking machine. Over the last 2 years, he leads the field in that. And then I've got all sorts of weird stuff going on in this column. So I'm just going to take care of that quickly. There we go. We're back to normal. His ball striking baseline is fantastic. His recent ball striking is fantastic. Now, this guy is possibly going to live. This guy could possibly show up with Tipex or wide out on his clubs. This guy could show up with a neck injury. This guy could show up and win the tournament. That is what we're dealing with when we get to HideKEY Matsuyama. I hate the fact that he's number 1 in the model. I hate the fact that he's 16% owned when Tony Finau is probably going to be 22, 25% owned. HideKEY might slip to 15. I've signed up HideKEY. The HideKEY to victory is the name of this podcast. He could be that. This guy has got potential through the roof. He's clearly the best golfer in this field. He's clearly won. This would be his 3rd win on tour with Cam Smith, with Sam Burns, with Scotty Scheffler. All crazy good guys. Tony Finau hasn't won this year, I don't think. So we know that his putting's getting better. Tony Finau, I'm just kind of bouncing off these guys to tell you why I'm not a fan of Tony this week. His putting's got better lately, but he hasn't been putting in contention. The guy has not been at the top of the leaderboard in a long time, and we think that Tony, under pressure, the putting, no bueno. HideKEY, on the other hand, we know this guy can win, and he can just do it through ball striking as well. So between the two of them, if you're going to give me a bunch of ownership break for HideKEY with $200 cheaper, let's go to HideKEY. I'm a big fan of him. Hopefully that percentage goes down even more. That's kind of, I was hoping it would be closer to the bottom of like 12, 13%. Keep an eye on it, but he's clearly the best golfer in this field. We're banking on his upside. The model said plus 100 is a bet we should make for top 20, but I just don't trust HideKEY's like floor. He could withdraw, we could whatever. And that makes him a scary DFS play. I don't mind him as an outright for that because it just means that we're just banking on his upside. If he sucks and he withdraws, whatever. It is what it is. Everything about his game, par 5 scoring, birdie or better, and history at this course are first, and second. Like everything about HideKEY makes complete sense for this event. It's just whether or not he shows up. We don't know. He's showing up. Hopefully he shows up for a purpose. Hopefully he dominates. Hopefully he kills it. Let's see what he can do. And then Tony, I'm just ditching Tony. We've got 3 guys at the top here that are all very good ball strikers. We've got very similar stats. Hideki and Tony both suck at putting generally. Apparently, Sungjae Im just forgot how to putt completely, but that was 11 shots that he dropped around the British Open. So he's back on American turf. Hopefully, he can start putting well. That could help his ownership go down. I have been eyeing out trying to start my lineups with Hideki and Sungjae. I think that'll be very weird, be very different. Maybe, I don't know, especially if their ownership goes down. Both these guys can win this tournament. Both of them are ball striking phenoms. Both of them have a great course history, and par five or birdie scoring is just phenomenal for both of them. So that's kind of my vibe at the top. Liking Sungjae and Hideki, monitoring ownership, see what cooks there. I know there's a wind advantage in the morning on Thursday. It seems like it's very similar on Friday from what we can see. Keep an eye on that as well. Lots of stuff going on. Minnesota can get windy. I'm looking out here. It's only 4 hours away from my house, and there's wind and trees blowing. I don't know if, whatever. The Midwest can get breezy. So know that. Cameron Tringali is going to be our 4th ranked golfer in the model, plus 150 to finish inside the top 20. He's 16% owned at 8.8K. That is, if we sort this by, just do that for 2 seconds. Look where he finds himself. Right in between Cameron Davis and Davis Riley, who Davis Riley could break the market. Like, he could be a 3rd owned, 33%. I've seen some projections in the 30s. Obviously, he's one of the best players coming into this field. The last 24 rounds, he's 2nd. So, I mean, duh. And he's 9K. So that's $1,500 you save on top of Tony. That's the reason. So him and Cam Davis are going to be harboring a bunch of ownership. So these 3 guys right here in this little gap, including Cameron Tringali, might be where we go, especially Ches. If Ches is at 8%, I might do a lot of Ches this week because the guy's in insane form right now. So let's just get back to what we were doing and talk about Cameron Tringali. He is just so solid across the board. The last 24 rounds, he's 12th in this field, ball striking top 20, blah-de-blah, off the tee, 19th. Great approach baseline, great recent approach play, fantastic putter, par 5 score. Like, everything in this row is just stunning. Off the tee, bit of a problem considering he's at the top of the leaderboard here on the model. But 50th is not, I mean, that's the worst thing he's got. All these other bozos here at the top have got hundreds associated to their putting, which I guess is a little more volatile. Whatever. He does great stuff on the par 5s and birdies. Wonderful things there. Maverick McNeely is our 5th guy, 9,300, 18% owned. Model said plus 145 for top 20. So it kicked out like 10 bets for top 20, which I'm not necessarily that impressed by. And I don't want to bet any of the bets that are like plus 150, plus 145, because it's just going to be so windy. It's going to be birdies flying everywhere. There's lots of water. I want guys that are like Emiliano Grillo, who's 6th in my model. The guy's a ball striking phenom. The putting, a bit of a problem. And around the greens, a bit of a problem. But that's not that big of a deal at this venue. We're leaning on the ball strikers. If you're going to give me Emiliano Grillo to ball strike the crap out of it and finish inside the top 20 and pay 3-1 odds, plus 275 on Bet Rivers, go get yourselves one of those. Maverick McNeely, not necessarily the strongest ball striker, especially lately. So he's a little bit of a concern. But we have seen with Cam Smith, you can get it done with a great putter. And guess what? Par 5 scoring, birdie or better percentages, the boy is inside the top 3 in all of those. So he is an intriguing prospect here, because what is he going to do on approach? Off the tee, he's fine, typically. But I don't know if you're going to want to sign up for a Maverick McNeely at 18% when his ball striking recently is just not up to par. We've seen that ball striking matters incredibly much around this venue. So possibly out on Maverick McNeely. Probably going to do some Cameron Tringali instead. 2 very volatile drugs that you probably don't want to get yourself involved with that much, but that's where we find ourselves at the 3M Open. Emiliano Grillo, just everything about him. I think he should be, according to the model, $8,500. So if he's $8,500, are you cool with taking on 11% ownership of Emiliano Grillo? I like it. If he's played well in the Midwest swing, finished 2nd or 3rd or 4th or whatever at the John Deere Classic because of his crappy short game. The guy was striking it like you cannot believe. I watched him on the back 9 there. The guy was just sizzling everything. Drivers, irons, alles. Looked great. cannot chip. So that might be nullified on the bigger greens here. We'll see what he can do. John Deere Green's also pretty big, so he played well there. So that's what we like to see from Emiliano Grillo, plus 275 for a top 20. Cameron Davis, 21% owned, $8,900, seventh in the model. Ball striking machine as well. Top 17 in the field. Baseline, sixth of the last 24 rounds. Off the tee, he is fantastic. Problem is with the good drive gain percentages, which I think is going to be important. He's 87th. And if he's 21% owned, what are we going to do? You got to pick and choose your battles with all this wind, with all this water. Picking a guy like Cam Davis at 21%, is he really going to be that much more likely to play as well as Emiliano Grillo in wind with water everywhere, blah, blah? I don't know. There's going to be options to go. I'm not pretty much playing anyone that's 20% or more this week. I don't want to deal with that, especially a Davis Riley that can be pushing 30%. Zippity doo I want to do with that nonsense. That's nowhere near where I want to be. Let me get this out of the way. But now notice, like HideKEY is just, him and Tony are obviously way clear of the field. The rest of the guys, not too shabby stuff. But my mother-in-law is calling me. Anyway, talk to you later. Let's get out of there and zoom in just a tad. Nope, too much. Okay. Cam, Davis Riley, don't want any of that. That ownership is a goddamn landmine there, people. Stay away from that nonsense. Davis Riley, though, is our second outright. 28-1, 25-1 on Bet Rivers, or 25-1 on Bet MGM. Go grab him. This guy is playing sensational golf, and that is why he's going to be 30% owned. Grab him on the outright market. If he plays well and wins this thing, you cash that ticket. If he plays and sucks, you've dodged. There's only 70% of the field that's going to be left. So that helps immensely. So hedge your bets pretty much with the outright ticket or a top 5 or whatever. See what you can get on Davis Riley there. But we've got him for an outright with him and HideKEY. And we've got one other guy that we'll get to in 2 seconds. But recently, look at this ball striking. Fantastic. The last 24 rounds, his irons are the best in the field. And we've got HideKEY Matsuyama in this field. We've got Tony Finau. We've got Sungjae Im. All these guys are in this field, and he's freaking putting and just everything. Everything about his game is fantastic. So his baseline putting is phenomenal. He makes the second most birdies in this field as well, which is fantastic. His approach play has just got so incredibly good, and his putting hasn't lined up with it yet. This guy's going to win a tournament soon. So, Jesus, it makes me want to play him in DFS, but you can't. You just can't play a guy that's going to be 30%. It just doesn't make sense. You just got to pick the outright and hope for the best. So that's what's going on there. Tom Hoge's the 9th ranked guy in our model, and his recent form is nice. 69th in the field. So Tom Hoge's recent form is about as average as you get, whereas he should typically be inside the top 10 in this field, just in general. The guy is a freak when it comes to just consistently plotting himself along the way. He's got a very solid baseline on approach, but as you can tell, like everything is just going backwards with this guy. Approach over the last 24 rounds, he's 41st, which is like 40 spots worse. Then it's 94th over the last 12. The guy just hasn't been firing. And at 8% owned in the $7,100 range, I don't know, man. It's just a tough sell. However, plus 350 for a top 20. That's the kind of bet we want. Like plus 350, if we've got 7 of them, that means that we only have to hit 2, and then we're making money already. So if Tom Hoge finished inside the top 20 at plus 350, let's go. Cam Davis as well, we've got him for a top 20 at plus 160. Would I absolutely play Davis Riley in cash DFS? Edward, I agree. I think that would be the play. GPPs, I don't know. I think he's going to be like 50% owned in cash, maybe even more. I don't know. I think that'll be an interesting play. I think you're going to be safe. You're not trying to get an edge on the field there. I think he's a very safe play. And ownership in cash, I guess, isn't that big of a deal. So I'd fire away on that bad boy. Absolutely. Cameron Davis, top 20, plus 160. He's the only mediocre odds bet that we're placing. I really like his ball striking. I like how he's coming into form here. I like his course history. I like the odds. We like all of that. Davis Riley in cash. Ed, go for it. Love it. Tom Hoge, top 20. You bet, buddy. Top 20 plus 350. Love Tom Hoge over there. Absolutely love Tom Hoge. It's just a really nice odds. And he hasn't made a cut in like 5 events, but this guy's built for this golf course. Consistency off the tee, hits the wedges. I mean, look at this. The 150 to 125 to 200 for Tom Hoge is really stunning. I mean, the last 24 rounds from 125 to 200, where 50% of the shots come from, this guy's number one in the field. So that's what you like to see from this guy. And it's just sad that his short games let him down. But if we're going to advocate for people who have good ball striking, he's one of those guys. So make up your own decision there. I can't get behind Tom Hoge right now. But for a top 20 at plus 350, we're talking too much about Tom Hoge. Chris Goddard up also. He could be ridiculously owned in GPPs. I think he's also, Ed, another great cash play. You know, these guys are going to be cash plays. All these Cam Davis, Davis Riley, Chris Goddard up, all good cash plays, I guess. Chris Goddard up, plus 225 for a top 20. Yes, let's go. That's what we're looking for. It's absolutely what we want. Approach baseline. He's only played 5 tournaments on tour, missed 2 cuts, made a third. Love to see that from him. His approach is one of the best in the field. The last 24 rounds, he's 6th. The last 12 rounds, he's 13th. The proximity numbers of the last 24 rounds from that distance, a bit of a problem, but, you know, whatever. It's still a small sample size. I don't think it's even 24 rounds. So let's get that out of the way. I'm not necessarily too interested in that today. But we got Chris Goddard up as an outright as well. We got him at 50 to 1 to win this event. He hits it so far off the tee. He hits it pretty straight for the most part. The good drive percentage is a bit of a concern, but guess what? He's just a freak when it comes to length. So he's going to be hitting 3 irons and 3 woods on the holes that I don't think he's comfortable, or he can completely take water out of play with his distance. I don't know what he's going to do. It's up to him to manage the course, but we're not going to him at 21%. What the heck is that about? Absolutely ludicrous. Bananas stuff. Absolutely bananas. I think this is the week to embrace volatility, to dodge ownership, to play the pivots. Let's do that. Martin Laird. Adam Hadwin. Sorry, we'll get to Martin here soon. Adam Hadwin's just not doing anything for me right now. The ball striking, last 24 rounds, it's just lacking. It's just lacking. You know, $9,600, 17% owned. He's not giving me enough to write home about. So at 17% owned, $9,600, we'll move on. I'm a big fan of Martin Laird this week. Big fan of Martin Laird. He's $1,400 cheaper. He's got 6 spots behind Adam Hadwin. His good drives gained is fantastic. And this Martin Laird's driver is so accurate off the tee. Doesn't hit very far, but he's playing nicely lately. The ball striking in general is 9th. His ball striking of the last 24 rounds is 25th. Love to see that. The birdies is a bit of a concern, but I think he can ball strike this course to death. And he's only $8,200, 8% owned. The guy is going to be fantastic. The putting, major issues, but guess what? This venue, not that big of a deal. Not that big of a deal at all. Last 12 rounds on approach. He's 6th in the field. Love to see that from Party Marty. So we're going next to Lucas Glover, where we are going to bet him for a top 20 at plus 350. Lucas Glover is another one of those ball strikers. 8th in the field in ball striking. He's going to ball strike this course to death, especially if the wind gets a little breezy. He hits that nice draw. Love to see that from the glove man. Last 24 rounds ball striking. He's inside the top 20 as well. The short game is a major concern, but guess what? Par 5 scoring, okay. He's also going to be plus 350 to get inside the top 20. So we're just relying entirely on his ball striking. If the putting sucks, that's what we deal with. But hopefully he can really strike it well enough to overcome a bad putter and maybe even putt well. And then we're talking business. $7,400, 4% owned. Lucas Glover is one of my guys this week. Absolutely love him too. Doug Gim, plus 320 for a top 20. So we're going big. If Doug Gim and Lucas Glover finish inside the top 20, we in business this week. Making money. That's plus 1 unit already. So that's just good to see. Love to see that from the Doug Gim Reaper. I think he was a plus 450 cash for us at the RBC Canada Open thingy. We love to see that from Doug. He's also ball striking machine. Love to see that from him. The short game, big problem. Par 5 scoring is not too bad. Got a very decent history at this venue. 6% owned, $7,300. Might be worth a little bit of a sprinkle there. JT Poston is 15th in the model. Other than his recent form, I don't know. I've never really liked JT. He's $8,500. I don't know. I don't really have any comment on him. Everything about his game is amazing. Par 5 scoring is wonderful. History at this venue is inside the top 20. Playing good golf. So if you think it's going to continue, there's other 8K guys around him that are probably more ownership-wise. I don't know. You make up your own decision on JT Poston. I don't think I'm doing too much with him. 23% owned Adam Svensson is probably my most exciting fade of the day. I don't know, man. Something about this guy at $7,600 at 23% owned. What are we doing? You know, like he's been putting well lately, but typically doesn't putt well at all. Everything, you know, the history is good. The birdie or better percentage is really starting to get up there. The longer course typically plays well on shorter courses. 23% owned. I'm sorry, just going to leave him alone. Ches Reavie, though. Ches Reavie. He is $8,700 and he's only 8% owned. He just won a tournament last week. So he's coming in hot. If you just get over the fact that he won a tournament last week, the guy's cooking. His last 24 rounds are 5th in the field, and his good drive percentage. This course is tailor-made for him. He's 3rd in the field in good drive percentage, and he hits his approach shots so close all the time. He's all of his metrics, baseline 24, last 12, all inside the top 20, and he's got a fantastic history here. Fantastic history. So I love everything about Ches at this venue. $8,700, 8% owned. If you're getting guys under 10% at this course for this DFS slate, there's chalk everywhere. If you can go under 10%, you're gaining so much advantage over the rest of the field. Like CT Pan, he's been fantastic lately. The guy's been crushing it. He's making cuts regularly, finishing inside the top 30 for the most part. $7,500, 10% owned. That kind of a guy that's going to give you a certain almost cut for the most part, yes, let's do CT Pan, 10%. I'm not doing 20. I mean, he's the same price as Adam Svensson, and CT Pan's just playing slightly less better than Adam Svensson coming into the week. But he's like at least half the ownership. What are we doing? What are we doing there? So that's what's going on with CT Pan. Love him. Love him this week. Stuart Sink, plus 120 for a top 40. It's a weird bet. It's a top 40 bet. I'm okay going down lower in the odds. Stuart Sink. I don't know why. I've got this obsession with Stuart Sink. Guess what? We're not betting him for top 20. We like Stuart Sink's upside. That's all we want. So we're going to play him in DFS because his birdie or better percentage is 25th in this field. Love to see that. He putts particularly well on bent grass. And he's off the tee game. The last 24 rounds is great. The ball striking is great. If he can get the putting on the bent working, Stuart Sink can win this thing. He can. He hits it long. He hits his irons well, and he can roll in those long putts. It's the scrambling. It's when he has to make a 7-8 footer for par. We got a problem. So Stuart Sink, 4%, $7,300. Sign us the hell up. Brendan Todd, similar situation. He's going to be plodding his way along with good drive percentages, climbing up every single shot he hits. Love to see that. The short game is the best in the field. Putting around the greens, on bent grass, whatever you want to talk about. Brendan Todd is one of the best putters in this field. And guess what? His ball striking recently is better than his baseline. So he's moving in the right direction. It is a longer course, but I think he's going to thrive on hitting driver on these tight holes. He hits it very, very accurately. So that's what I like about Brendan Todd, 7%, 7.5, 7.7K. Sahith Theegala, a lot to like. And at $9,800, if he's going to be 13% owned, that might be someone you want to target at the top there because we got a whole bunch of 20% in the 9K range. So if you're going to get him at almost half the percentage of everyone else, let's go. Now he's coming back from Europe. I don't know what the jet lag, what the motivation is going to be. He is very erratic off the tee. Off the good drives gained is like 84th in the field. Not very, very appetizing. But that's what you're going to have to deal with. So I don't even know if I'm going to go to Sahith or not. Ryan Palmer, we spoke about him on the BetSpurt show. He's 6% owned, $7,900, and he's one of the better ball strikers usually. Off the tee, he's very, very good. But recently, it's kind of lagging behind his baseline, which is not as exciting as you can hope for. And his approach play is going in the wrong direction. So no Ryan Palmer for me. That's all I needed to see there. Let's go down. We're going to skip a few people till we get Brendan Steele is in red. Not touching Brendan Steele. I think he's going to be in the 20s as well. What on earth is going on there? Matthew Neesmith, on the other hand, I kind of will not mind going to him at all. Him and Tyler Dunn, all of these guys over here. Hank Lebioda, maybe not so much. Sam Ryder's a very interesting. I'm just jumping. Let's go to Matthew Neesmith here. What do we like about him? Ball striking, baseline, 5th in the field. Ball striking last 24 rounds, 7th in the field. Love to see that. Approach play, baseline, 2nd in the field. Last 24, last 12 on approach, inside the top 21. Love to see that. The putting around the green, all hot garbage. That doesn't matter at this venue as much. We saw that. So he's a really interesting play at $7,500. This guy's been at the top of tournaments before. It's been really, really interesting to see him do his thing. So if he can, he's got upside, especially in this field. Very interesting stuff. Hopefully he can do it well. I'm getting messages from multiple people from my family here, so just give me 2 seconds. No. Okay. Just making sure there wasn't a crisis. Sorry for that. Brendan Steele, not playing him. Tyler Duncan is $7,100, 6% owned. Also, one of the better ball strikers in this field. If he's going to be down low like that, let's go. Look at this. It's slightly going in the wrong direction again on the approach side of things, but still 33rd, and he's $7,100. We need guys that are going to be in the $7,100 range, especially if I want to do the HideKEY Sungjae Im combo at the top there. I'm curious. We're going to need $7,100 guys. We're going to need Ryan Moores, who's also ball striking typically very well, and the good drives gained is what you're looking for from this dude. Recently, he's struggled. He really has, but I think he played well at the John Deere. Might be a similar thing going on here at the 3M. Again, makes a decent amount of birdies for a guy that's 6K. So that's what we like to see. And the same goes for Sam Ryder. I think he's off the tee game a lot more concerning, but still not very, very bad. That's why he's kind of up here in the top half of this model here. Sam Ryder's been fantastic. Absolutely fantastic stuff. The last 24 rounds, not so much, but he spikes. He does really well for you, and then he does really badly. It's a weird dude. But that's what you're getting when you're in the 6Ks. You're not going to get absolute gems. Nick Hardy, too chalky, not playing him. Vaughn Taylor's another guy we're going to be playing for plus 250 in the top 40 market. Absolutely sign us up for that. That's what we're looking for from Vaughn Taylor. He is a ball striking legend when it comes to 6.6K. Plus 250 for a top 40. The good drives gain is what's getting him up the model round because he's a really good approach player. He doesn't hit very far, but he hits it very straight. The good drives gain shows that. And then, we're not all the way up there in the birdie or better percentages, so we bet him for top 40 because he's just going to stay out of trouble, not make too many birdies, but avoid catastrophe for the most part. So that's what we like about that top 40 bet from Vaughn Taylor. Absolutely love that. Nate Lashley is another guy I'm a big fan of down here in the 7K range. Look at the good drive percentage there. It's 20th in the field. He's been playing top 30 in the field lately over the last 24 rounds. Love to see that. Makes a lot of birdies, Nate Lashley. 21st in the field in birdie or better percentages. So that's all good stuff that you like to see from guys down in the 7K range here. Love to see that from him. And then we're going to get to the champ from last year, Cameron Champ, who had one of his best putting performances of his life. So that was one of the most luck box. I mean, if you go look at his putting statistics, Cameron Champ it's just negative every single time. And then he goes and plays at the 3M Open and gains 8+ strokes on the greens, which is just ridiculous. So it can happen. Anyone can gain strokes on those greens. Wild stuff. John Herr, good drives inside the top 20. And he is going to be quite a low-owned individual. And he was all that jazz a while ago. Now he's only 4% owned, $7,100. Wasn't John Herr like in the mid-teens a while ago? We got a crappy field now, peeps. Let's go after it. We got absolutely no reason not to play John Ha. $7,100. Sign him up with HideKEY and Sungjae. Let's get to these guys. Danny Lee. What do we like about Danny Lee? Ball striking. Absolutely love all the ball striking. Then you get to the red side of this column. The short game. That's what's turning people off. Guess what? Not going to need it that much this week. Absolutely love that. Makes a lot of birdies. Decent history here. 24th in par 5 scoring. He's 3% owned. $7,200. Perfect combination for the Sungjae Im. HideKEY Matsukima Yama. Combo. Joseph Bramlett's also a really intriguing play. Also, one of those heavy ball strikers. Off the tee, he's fantastic. Good drives gained, he's decent. Putting, terrible, terrible, terrible. Hopefully it's different this week. You got to take chances with these guys. We're just going to sprinkle in ball strikers in the 7K range. Hope for the best with the putter. Obviously, not everyone's going to putt well. The model's telling us they're not. But if you can lean on your ball striking this week, you are in freaking business, folks. Absolutely in business. So the same goes for Nick Taylor. Ball striking, last 24 rounds, 37th in the field. Approach play, the last 24 rounds, 25th in the field. And then he doesn't have that bad of a short game either, which is also not too shabby. We'll take his course history here. He's 32nd in the field in the last 24 rounds total. So he's in good form. $7,200, 4% owned. Sign us up for Nick Taylor. Ryan Armour, the most accurate driver of the golf ball in the field. At this venue, yes, let's go. Recent approach plays kind of going backwards, but guess what? He's going to a course that he's got really, really good course history for his standards. 17th in the field in course history at this venue. $6,900, 3% owned. What is Ryan Armour doing only owned that amount of money? Owned that amount of percentages. Ryan Armour is a definite go-to this week. Absolutely love that in the 6K range. And then you got Chase Seifert, who's exactly in the same boat. Ball striking baseline is 22nd in this field. Recently, he's 50th. But guess what? His good drives gained is 12th in this field. And that's what we're looking for from these guys. Really, really good approach players that can keep their ball in the fairway, out of the water. My boy Ron on the BetSpurt show we did earlier. Go check that out on their channel. Mentioned that Chase Seifert grew up playing lake water-logged golf courses. This guy doesn't get scared when he sees a pond down the right. He's going to drill a draw just off the edge of it. He loves to play off in these courses. We see when he goes to the coasts, he plays really well in wind. The guy's a fantastic wind player. Love to see that from Chase Seifert. 1% owned. We're leading on ball strikers this week. The putting, whatever. Figure that out when you're on the greens. This guy's a ball striker. This guy likes playing on waterlogged courses. He's going to be the gem this week. I love Chase Seifert. If he finished inside the top 20 at 1% owned, $6,800, that's all you can ask for. Then you get Austin Smotherman, who is very intriguing because he's got a very similar profile to Chase Seifert. Apart from, So what's going on here? Chase Seifert, 22nd in baseline ball striking, 50th over the last 24 rounds. Smotherman, 30th over the last 24 rounds. And his putting is also garbage. Everything about his game is hot garbage when it comes to short game. So I don't know. He makes a decent amount of birdies. That's what he's got going for him, but that's about it. Now, this guy is a guy I'm a big fan of, is Jim Nose. And who knows Jim Nose apart from us? I think the only thing I'm glomming onto is his birdie or better percentage. And he's $6,500. Nobody's going to own him. I played him at the John Deere, I believe, and he missed the cut by one. So this guy can play. He makes a decent chunk of birdies. He's a $6,500 play, and he's just zero owned. No one's going to own him. So love that from him. Absolutely love that from him. And then Kramer Hickok is another guy. Good ball striking recently, good ball striking baseline, good drives gain percentage is up there. Absolutely love to see that. And then he's got a pretty average history at this venue. You'll take a 44 for a guy that's going to be 2% owned. $7,200. Let's go to Chase Seifert. Austin Cook is another dude who's been playing well because of his good drives gained recently. So his approach play has been shining, and he hits it in the fairway. He doesn't hit it very long because he's a tiny tot. I think someone reported that he went into a bunker and disappeared today. He's not very tall, but he's gonna play well this week. I think he's got a really tidy short game as well, which is never hurting, and his good drives gain percentage is awesome to see at 2%, $6,700. Love that. Love, 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 love that. Aaron Badley is one of my secret plays this week. Look at this recent approach play. I know it's a very small sample size, but he's got a pretty decent short game typically. He's played on this course once or twice before, played not too shabby. And if he can keep striking his irons the way he has once or twice, this he's a really good golfer. $6,300, 1% owned. Yeah, let's go to Aaron Badley. I love what we're seeing from him. So we're going to take a chance on him. 63K. Hello, let's go. Then I'm noticing this guy, Bo Hoge, has got a really good course history at this venue. So just know that. I don't know if I'm going to play him or not, but that's what we got going on there. And then another guy I'm a big fan of is Chris Stroud, $6,400. Ball striking, last 24 rounds, up in the top 40. Approach plays been very, very good. And then he putts not too shabby on bent grass. So that's what we love to see from Chris Stroud. That's what we love to see from all the people that we are betting on. I also want to do something that I've never done before and show you guys some matchups, because that is one of my favorite things in the world. But before that, let's just recap quickly what is going on for outright. So this is the RotoBaller outright situation. We're betting to make $100, $110 or less. So we got a HideKEY at 18-1, Davis Riley at 25-1, and Chris Goddard up at 50-1. Those are our outrights. And then we have these guys for our first round leaders. These are all AM times because the afternoon is going to be windy as nuts, and we don't want any of that. We want to give our guys the best opportunity. We got 8 of them going off in the morning, and these guys are all some of the best. They're some of the best, first round scorers on tour. So these are all the best in this order. So Adam Svensson's way up at the top there. Love that 50-1 number. Matthias Schwab, Seng Yul No, which I had no idea was a very good first round bet. CT Pan, Vaughn Taylor, Dylan Fratelli, Maverick McNeely, and Martin Laird. 8 of those guys. Could grab the best odds you can on them. All very good first round scorers. If we can get them in some good conditions, there's a good chance one of these guys lands up leading the first round. That's a very basic, simple approach I'm taking to it. I've been terrible at these bets. I'm kind of dumbing it down so we can do some good stuff. That's all we're wishing for. Now, this is the model. This is how it kicks out odds. This is how it kicks out matchups. So you type the 2 guys in, and then you put the odds in. It takes their power rating, does a bit of calculating. It tells me what my odds should be for that guy, and there's a threshold for value. My odds need to be 90 points better than what the odds are that are offered. And if they're not, we don't pull the trigger. We need an absolute edge over someone in order to do so. And Emiliano Grillo is that guy. He's at minus 120 over Dylan Fratelli, and it's a very intriguing play. So I wanted to also see if we could do one of these things. And we're going to just deep dive these guys quickly. So we're going to do Fratelli versus Emiliano Grillo. This is Data Golf. I love their stuff. They are amazing. So let's take a peek at these 2 guys. Dylan Fratelli's been making a lot of cuts, which is actually a bit of a concern. So this is what I typically do right before I'm placing a head-to-head bet. They are one of my favorites because in a head-to-head bet, you can have the other guy withdraw, and it's basic. You're not even going up against the book. Yes, they're charging you juice, but you are betting against one other dude. If he withdraws, you cash your bet. If your guy withdraws, that sucks. But if he withdraws in a top 20, that sucks for you too. There's no one else to bet against. So you're not going against the book, which always wins typically unless you follow this channel, but you're going up against one other dude. So it doesn't matter what happens. Any bad breaks, they can happen for both people. Love to see that. So Emiliano Grillo is on the right-hand side over here. And the model just really, really likes him. Like he finished T2 at the John Deere Classic. Fratelli hasn't really got any top-end results. He's made a lot of cuts, but his best finish was the Valero back a while ago. None of these recent form is inside the top 20. The model usually kicks out guys that we like. So we really, really like Emiliano Grillo because of his ball striking. Fratelli does all of his stuff around the greens. So we're going to lean into Emiliano at minus 120. He has upside. Fratelli's cut-making streak is a bit of a concern. However, he's not the best ball striker on tour. So there's a good chance I know we've got him for a first-round leader. That seems very weird, but we're going with the model here. So the model tells us to bet it at minus 120. Let's go. Then we've got Chris Goddard up against Bo Hassler, who's also Bo Hassler is not very good when it comes to approach play, or he's a very good driver of the ball, but I don't know how accurate he is. Chris Goddard up is a ball striking machine, and we get him at minus 110 against Bo Hassler. So that's what we like to see from the Goddard up man, our top, one of our outrights at 50 to 1. So we're going to go with him at minus 110 against Bo Hassler. And then there's a CT pan over Tom Hoge. CT is basically the same thing as the Dylan Fratelli thing, but he has been just the model of consistency when it comes to ball striking. So CT pan, I think, is probably going to beat Tom Hoge. I really like CT over him, and the model doesn't agree, but this is a baby override. I'm a big fan of CT Pan's recent form. He's been playing really, really consistent golf. Tom Hoge's missed 5 straight cuts in a row. I feel like that's all you need to know. And it's minus 114 on Bet Rivers. So that's what's going on here in the matchup side of things. All the others didn't kick out enough juice. Some that were close were basically... we didn't really have anything that was very close. So, yeah, we just had those 3 that kicked out winners for us. We went 3 for 3 last week. We had a push for 4, but basically swept him for 3 for 3 in the head-to-head market last week, which saved our bacon on the matchup side or the placing side, which you love to see. So anyway, that concludes it for today. Back 9 bets, the HideKEY to victory. Thank you for joining. Thank you for supporting. Shout out to RotoBaller.com. Go get your stuff over there. They have presented this show to you. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people over there. Go check out Breaking 100 that I have out there as well. It's basically all of these things in an article form. And yeah, thanks for joining, folks. We will catch you in 2 weeks' time after I'm done biking my ass off across Iowa. All right, Linda Q out.